Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Midday Market Report closing bell and our weekly trip with Mr. Lucky at Follow Fade later in the show. Yes, the weekend is here. Prayers go out to Florida as they are now trying to slowly piece back together the state. My partner in crime, Scotty Webb, part of that team there. We're wishing him the best and his family and everyone else out there. Did an earlier show this morning with Southside Riley on our weekly Big Ten preview. ECSI VIPs were 2-0 last night. Going into last night, for the week. Really, this week especially, it's more of the quality versus quantity effect. Was on the Bengals all week, and then study long, study wrong. 3.5-point favorites. I looked at the first half; they were 3-point favorites, and then I got enticed with the BYU game. And I was looking at them minus 14.5. First half, they were 24-point favorites against Utah State. And the number that stuck out to me, Utah State team total 17.5 juiced under minus 135. The first instinct for everyone is to go to the window and bet the under there. Well, they're not going to get 20, 21 points. That's why it's juiced under. It's 17 and a hook. So you got 1 to 17. If it's 16.5, everyone's betting the over because they got to get the 17 and over. That's part of reading the market. And instead of going with the instincts there, we went with the first half, which ended up being 17-17. So 2-1 for the week. Some intriguing stuff tonight. There's a handful of college games that I'm going to break down right now to you. I'm going to talk about a couple of baseball games that actually mean something as we get ready for the playoffs that start next Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So tonight in college, rotation number 105, 106, a 7 o'clock start. Tulane in Houston. Actual Chris opening number was 3-54. Currently at 4-53.5. I do have a 4.5 at Bet Online, also at Bovada. Initially, this line was, you saw it at 1.5 here, and it's kind of intriguing to me. Where I want to say honestly that Houston is the side here. Now, how do you get into that? Well, let me just explain something here, okay? If the line was 1 and is now 4.5, and I go into Wager Talk and I hit first half line, and I see Houston 2.5 or 3-point favorites. Now, they're 4 in the full game. So, again, people say, well, why don't you take the full 60 minutes, Jeff, versus 30 minutes? Anything can happen in the first half. The point is, talking out loud here, if the line was 3.5 or 4, and, again, they're 2.5 or 3 in the first half, Vegas is kind of hinting to you to say, guys, we think Houston's going to be up by a field goal or more first half. So keep an eye on Houston first half. Minus the 2.5. You can get 2.5 right now at CIRCA. Good afternoon, Derek. Good afternoon, Mr. Benson. At Heritage, there's some 3s plus 100, but keep an eye on that one. That's the first one I wanted to talk about. UTSA, Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee, the shocker last week. 24-point underdogs go into Miami and win outright. Classic letdown spot here again. UTSA opened at 5.5, down to 4. There are some 4.5s. 3-point favorites in the first half there. And under over a 62, now 64. 32.5 in the first half here. Keep an eye on UTSA first half there. The almighty Boise State, the blue turf on Friday night, that used to be an autoplay. They used to just roll. Well, this is not your same Boise State team here. Neither is it San Diego State. I mean, the days of Marshall Falk and company have long left the building. They're a line that opened at 6, now 6.5. I do not have a good feel on this, and under over a 38. Both teams offensively challenged there. The game of the night, Washington at UCLA. This Washington team is a wagon, guys. They are playing phenomenal. They're playing great ball. Now they travel to UCLA, where Mr. Chip Kelly, he's kind of sort of in a hot seat right now. You bring in Lincoln Riley over to USC. You got a hot Washington team. And as we speak, of course, Keenan Allen out for the Chargers. Mr. Lucky, make that note, please. Keenan Allen out. And I didn't want to draft the damn guy. The guy gets hurt bending down, tying his shoes. Plays 1 week and now misses again. Jesus, 3 weeks in a row here. Chargers banged up offensively and defensively. So if you got Joshua Palmer, if you have DeAndre Jackson, DeAndre, yes. Please take a look at adding them there. But the game of the night opened Washington -3 with a 64. They've been pounding the over to 65.5. 2.5. They were 3s all day. I think UCLA is the right side here. I really do. I think you get an inspired effort from UCLA. I like them. If you got to buy the hook to get them to 3, fine. I think they win this game outright. I think there'll be a lot of points scored, but I definitely think UCLA gets this one done. And then the last one, New Mexico and UNLV. UNLV opened at 15.5, now 14.5 with an under-over of 44. Kind of surprising ever to see UNLV favored by 14. I go back. Is Stacey Augman and Larry Johnson and Grandmama playing. I know that's basketball. That's a little tongue-in-cheek joke there for everyone there. No say in the matter. I know New Mexico's not good, but UNLV shouldn't be favored by 14 over anyone there. I'm going to go back here. Give me 1 second, peeps. Where are we here? Full game. MLB, the game of the night. I'll go right to it. Rotation number 905, 906. DeGrom versus Fried. The Mets with a 1-game lead. Overnight number -110 on both sides. Wake up this morning, and of course the DeGrom money's pouring in. Currently 119 at CIRCA, 120 at Westgate, 120 at South Point, 135 on DraftKings. Mets win, they get a 2-game lead. This is the one that you really, really want to take the home dog here, but DeGrom has not pitched well his last 2 starts. Is this the one where, again, he flexes his muscles? I talked about it all for a while now. This reminds me of the Dodgers chasing the Giants all last year, and they just couldn't get them. The Giants win the regular season, and of course the Dodgers win the playoff series there. So as much as I really like the home dog and Fried, don't forget Strider on the ILDL, whatever you want to call it. This is a biggest game of the year for both sides. I lean Atlanta here, but I can understand why. DeGrom is way overdue for a great start. So keep your eyes on that one. Seattle, 1 game away from getting in the playoffs. Favored by -270, now 235. I mean, Gilbert is pitching. We know they're in there. It's just when are they going to celebrate? again, if you got a run line on them, -1.5, the under over 7, do they get to 4? Is this a 4-1, 4-2 game? Can they get to 5? Will be interesting there. So those are a couple games that I'm looking at, and my phone's blowing up as we speak. So give me 1 second. Sorry about that. So let's bring him in. He's sitting patiently in the lobby. Let's bring him in. Any comments, questions, concerns? Obviously, you can reach out to my timeline at EC Sports Invest, and we will then answer any questions you have on tonight's game or anything moving further. Without further ado, let's bring him in. The one and only Mr. Lucky.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jeffrey Dawson. How are you doing?
I'm doing. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. TGI football.
Yes.
We can talk the board. It's an interesting week, right? I mean, it's shaping up to figuring out what we want to do with CIRCA. I mean, there's injuries galore. There's some good division matchups. It's a tough week. Every week is tough. I mean, there's no free lunches, right, in Vegas?
I was just going to nip that one right in the bud. There is no such thing as an easy week in the NFL. I mean, I could talk to anyone till they're blue in the face. Those billion-dollar casinos and resorts are built on Sundays. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's no doubt about it. And I don't know if you misunderstood my little quirky remark last week. When you were on the show, I clearly stated it. And then after the results came in, I clearly stated it. We were, when the card came out, I had said Jacksonville, whose line was down to 3 because it looked like Herbert wasn't going to play, or 3.5, would be the most popular one. And I called it the free bingo square because, again, it was 7 on the card. So therefore, when the so-called sharps or whoever's playing the contest sees an actual line of 3, 3.5, value, CLV, whatever you want to call it, they're going to take it, come win, lose, or draw. And again, that's what I called the free bingo square. And it was funny because then Herbert plays, and they 15, 20 minutes, half hour before, people moved the line to 5. I think it closed at 6. Just a shell of himself. The Jaguars back-to-back weeks shut out the Colts, only allowed 10 points to the Chargers. But again, that was the free bingo square, and 1,803 people took advantage of the free bingo square.
Not us.
No, I know.
It's funny because we have several meetings during the week. But we have a Friday night caucus, if you will. And that was one we discussed. We were just afraid of that line movement. Herbert plays, everybody's going to jump on Jacksonville, overthinking the CIRCA perhaps. We thought that would be a consensus freebie. Mm-hmm. And as it turned out, it was. But hey, we'll take our first 3 weeks. But I didn't misunderstand you. We talked about it. We were just scared of Herbert. He's so good, and we thought maybe it's one of those where the public is seeing something and then you do the opposite. This week it's going to be interesting because, I mean, I heard you, Allen's out. We've got, to be truthful, Jeff, we've got 12, 13 games right now. We look as toss-ups. Yours truly likes 1 game this week. 1. Uno. You want to go over the card? You want to lead me into some games? I'll give you my I've got stats up the yin yang, and we can roll soon. We can figure out game plan here. I've got 12 texts already. This is the Wager Talk Live odds, as we both love. There's 4 public trendy plays. You know what I feel about public trendy plays. You and I have shared a couple of texts this week. I've zigzagged on one game. I looked at some of these stats. I can't get behind a team here that I think is the play. But that defense is horrible, and I'll share that with you as we go through the board here. But, we've got 2 gentlemen. One of them I think we know through Wager Talk. Congratulations to Carmine Bianco. He's 15-0. I mean, that is fantastic. And good luck to him.
I think, isn't he 15-0 in the Westgate?
I know he's 15-0 in the CIRCA.
Okay. I thought I had a conversation with Dave, and I thought maybe he was talking about someone else that was obviously guaranteed money, because this Westgate does it in the thirds, so every 3 weeks.
Right.
They tried to, so a 15-0 obviously is going to get a piece of the money. I don't know if they were just they were the only ones that are 15-0. I mean, listen, as you go through this, and you're going to sit down, and if you get back out there in March when we're there, or whenever we do go back there, and you're going to assess the first year, and it's a lot easier outside than actually inside. And once you're inside, and one of the words that I said to you, I'm not in it this year. I was in it the last 3 years.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, the first year I was in the Westgate, again, we were sitting one spot behind Brent Musburger, and that was my goal, to beat him. It was kind of a little joke that I had going the whole year. He was like 48th, we were 49th, and there was one top 100 cashed, and there was about 3,300 people in it, and there was one of those free lunch games. It was Indy at Tennessee, and Tennessee was missing their starting quarterback, and they were missing someone else. The whole world was on Indy, and I wanted to go for the Ferrari. I didn't want to go for the Fiat and just cash. So I says, I'll let everyone take Indy. I'll take Tennessee, and it's like a 3-game swing where the whole pool is on one side, and I'm the minority, the contrarian, on the other side. Well, Indy comes down, scores on their first possession. Tennessee's 3 and out on their first possession. Indy goes down and scores again. It's 14-0. Thanks for playing. Brent finishes 38th, and I finished like 106 or 116. I didn't cash. So my point is, the final thing that I said to you was, the toughest thing about this pool is I hit like 61% last year, which is a phenomenal year.
Absolutely.
The winner was over 70%.
Yeah.
And
70 on the money. He won 63 out of 90.
And you're sitting here right now at a beautiful 12-3 record. 3 games behind.
And we will have regression.
Exactly.
By the way, people out there will be regression. It's the process, right, Jeff? We're enjoying it, but it's fun. It's almost like a chess game.
Is
it
a chess
game. It's fun. It's fun, Jeff. I've been doing this so long that I have a handle on this weekly. I think I've got a way to profit in the long term. This has been gravy. I wanted to do it just as it's like going to the Masters, Jeff. You and I have talked about it. It was a bucket list for me, and it is. I want to go to the Masters. I want to go to St. Andrews. I want to live to be 90. We don't know, right? So I just thought, hey, I've been doing NFL forever. My love of NFL handicapping has been there forever. Let's do it. Let's go for it. We were unsure of Westgate or CIRCA. Kind of like the way CIRCA did it, in the sense that you have a little bit later deadline. But it's been fun. It's just difficult when you have two other amigos and you talk about these games. I mean, it's like the a sick Barney Miller sitcom. You know, 5 guys have 5 opinions. 5 guys have 5 games they like. And then when it comes to Friday night, we're thinking, scratching our head. Okay, so let's get to the board, amigo. How's that sound? Tell you
Yeah,
what
I want
what I
I
see.
I want to do this right now. Let's take the next 10 minutes. Let's take the circa out of play.
Okay.
This is me, you, Dave, and Bernie sitting at the South
Mm-hmm.
Point, and we got to go place a couple wagers on Sunday's games. Okay, nothing to do with the circa.
Okay.
I look at the board right now. I have said all along, you and I talked throughout the week. I have said all along that I thought it was a stench, that it's a Saints number in London. The line finally did go to 3. I'm hearing rumors. Michael Thomas is already out. Kamara is a question mark. I am hearing late rumors. Get ready for Andy Dalton. So that line is now vaulted to 3 there. I've said all along that the Colts smells to me. That's at 3.5 against Tennessee. If you bet $100 on the Giants or the Bears, I'd Venmo you $200. I could give a rat's ass about that game. The Bills line at 3.5. Again, the world is going to circle the wagons and say the Bills are not going to lose 2 in a row. I get that part. Dave and I and Brady Tinker did a show yesterday. He loves the Ravens there. Chargers. Let me just say this, people. Let me just say this very clearly. That number was set at 6 for a reason. I know the Texans have been playing great. They're 3-0 against the spread. We all know the Chargers are so damn banged up. Why didn't this open at 2.5 or 3 or 3.5? Just buyer beware if you're jumping on the Texans. Lions banged up. No Swift, no St. Brown. I still have some question marks. I got more Qs out there than, Chark is a question mark. It looks like a Seattle number. It's down to 3.5. Jets Steelers again. Sharp people are on the Jets. Return of Zach Wilson there. One of the best games of the week. Jags are at Philly. It's stuck on 6.5 with a 45.5. The Jags defense has played great. We know Philly's D at home pin those ears back. Could be interesting to see what Lawrence does there. And I know we were born at night, not last night. This is a Washington Commanders number. It's Washington or nothing. Everyone remembers what they saw last. I brought this up this morning. I'm going to bring it up again. Cooper Rush and Dallas have been dogs the last 2 weeks, 7-point dogs at home against Cincinnati. No one thought they could win that. They won. They were 1.5-point dogs at the Giants. They win that one. Now they're favored. It's a Commander number, and we'll get into that one.
And a trendy play this week.
Yes. Cleveland opened at 3, down to 1. I'm kind of surprised. We thought this might even go down to a pick. Cleveland is the right side there. Atlanta 3-0 against the spread, coming off a win at Seattle. We'll see what happens there. Denver and Vegas, we could have a whole show about that. It's do or die, life support for Mr. 702 now, Josh McDaniels. I think you're going to see a real Denver offensive explosion. Now, the question is, does Carr and Adams and Waller, does Renfro play? Keep up. Okay, here's a funny. Sunday night, Packers were 7.5. That's with Mac Jones. No Mac Jones, went to 10.5. It's now down to 9.5. Shops are all over the Patriots. There is not a 3-point difference between Hoyer and Mac Jones. That's what they're telling you. Chiefs and Bucks. I said on air numerous times that both the Chiefs and the Bucks would lose last week. They'd be 2-1 coming into this game. Now the Bucks are a 1-point favorite. Now that they are playing at home, they didn't have to travel to Minnesota because of the hurricane. The whole world will be on the Chiefs. As much as I want to back the Chiefs, this is a Bucks or nothing for me. And LA and the 49ers. Now, let me just explain this. Lucky, you know this as well. The Rams are always 1.5 point favorites at the 49ers on a primetime game. It's a free layup for us 49ers guys. We go to the window, we play the 49ers plus the 1.5 and on the money line, and they steamroll them. They're doing that reverse Jedi mind trick here. The wrong team is favored right now. Now, do you want to go and take the carrot and say, well, the Niners are going to bounce back because they always do against the Rams? God bless you. I just having a hard time getting. If the Rams were minus 1.5, I'd be all over the Niners. I'm not taking the Niners -2. Thank you.
I'm not playing that game, and we know why. Should we let the viewers in on a secret? 2 of my 3 losses.
Yes, we talked at length. 2 of your 3 losses have been the Niners, and I also told you the other one was don't touch the Raiders either which way. I don't care if they were playing Barnstable High School.
That was our other one. That's Jeffrey Benson calling you. 20-0 Raider lead at half. Real quick, Jeff, what did I tell you last week about the Raiders taking the airplane over to Nashville? Can we go to that game real quick so I can just get it out of my system?
The stage is yours. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something, good people out there. Better defense. And my pops told me a long time ago, you want to go ahead and wager on an 0-3 team? Go right ahead. Bless you. I hope they go 1-3. Love the city of Vegas. You and I know that if they go 1-4, they might as well have tea times in January. Let me do a Lee Corso. Not so fast, my friends. I don't like the Raiders on Sunday. It's off our card. We are boycotting the Raiders and 49ers because you know, Jeff, and we talked about it. It's a Murphy's Law.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like betting teams that are 0-3, and I don't like it when the dog is has a way better defense. So that one is definitely to me a no thanks. Couple things that struck me is I do think it's a Saints number, but Winston is now officially out, I believe, per at least the report I saw. Another thing about that game I don't like is Saints are off a loss. Saints outplayed the Panthers. Vikings, I don't know. I mean, the Vikings are giving up 427 yards on defense. Metrics, I don't like the Vikings metrics. Should be a Vikings win if you base it on the fact that you have no Winston, no Thomas. Stranger things have happened. Like the Titans last week, they're in a good role here. For the record, the Colts were my top play last week. That's where Mr. Lucky made some money. And I sprinkle a little bit on the money line. And I heard it all week on Twitter. People were whining. People were complaining about, well, the Colts shouldn't have won. Listen, you and I were born on Friday night, but not last night. It's going to happen. You're going to have games throughout the course of the season where you're going to cash and never say, well, I shouldn't have cashed. It's going to happen. It was the right spot to play the Colts, in my opinion. Just deal with it. We're going to lose games on a backdoor. It's just the way it is. I don't like the Colts this week. They've allowed 12 sacks. It's a Titans number. And they've owned the Colts in Indianapolis. I think Vrabel is 3-0 there, 3 or 4-0. Giants and Bears. We had the Giants not on our card, but we had a little play on the Giants. I'm a Giants fan. By the way, this is a Brooklyn Dodger cap. You didn't know. Love my Giants. Looks very easy, doesn't it? Off a division game. They're playing a Bears team that's given up. The Bears are negative 90 yards, Jeff Dawson, on yardage this year. Negative 90.
No David Montgomery either. He is officially out.
Montgomery's out. There's an angle in that game I do like, but I'm going to give you this stat for those watching us if you want to listen. Guess how many touchdowns the Giants have in the first half this year?
None.
0. Guess how many touchdowns they've had in the first half of the last 7 games as a
Probably
team?
Probably none.
0.
Yeah.
0. So the point is, you've got 2 teams that don't score. Don't like it because it looks like a Giants back to back. I mean, the Giants are back to back at home. They lost at home, which is an angle I like, as you know. Probably off my radar. Lean Giants because they're 5-0 off Monday night. If people like that trend, Bills Ravens, great game. I mean, you've got the MVP showdown here, right? Bills have lost 5 in a row in Baltimore. Now I know I tend to talk these trends, but it's still history, right? When you write history, there's a narrative to these teams. Okay, Lamar's been terrific. I mean, he's my MVP ticket right now, Jeff. I got a 16-1 on Lamar. Not looking too bad. Although there's a guy in Philly that's not looking too shabby. Ravens are 5-0 as a dog. Here's the question I would say about anyone out there. Do you want to play the Ravens with the number 32 ranked defense against the number 1 ranked defense? The group likes that game. They like the Ravens as a dog. Mr. Lucky right now is film at 11. I don't think I want to go that way. Chargers and Texans. What do people see in that game, Jeff?
They see a team that's 3-0 against the spread with a banged up offense and defense and potentially no Herbert.
Herbert will play. I think Herbert will play. Justin Herbert or David Mills? I
don't have a problem with David Mills, by the way.
No, I don't either. But the thing about that game is recency bias is obviously there. What do people remember? They remember a Charger team that got embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
It's Chargers or Pats. I know the Chargers defense hasn't been very good. The Texans have allowed 428 yards of offense. They are the worst rush defense in the league. I know the Chargers don't run the ball very well, but be careful there. Be very careful on that one. This is the one I cannot figure out this week. Okay, you've got a Lion team that was up 14-0 last week. They've got probably the best offense in the league, at least in the NFC right now, other than Philly. Seattle's terrible. Seattle's off a home loss. Why is all the money on Seattle? Why is everybody on Twitter calling on Seattle this week?
Detroit is banged up.
Yeah, they're down. They're down Brown and Swift. But you're gonna play the Seahawks? No, I'm not. So that would be Lions or pass for me. I think the Lions win that game. And by the way, because I did get this confirmed unofficially and officially, I reached out to Dave Tooley, who I love on Twitter. If you pick the winner of 48 games so far, 49, I believe it is now. If you pick the winner, guess how many wins you have under your belt covering the spread?
From 49?
Yeah, there's 2 pushes. So out of 47, guess how many you have?
38.
39. So who do you see winning that game? That's my angle. Who do you see winning that game? The Seahawks or the Lions? And the line is now at 4.
You know what?
I like the Lions.
Let me stop you there for 1 second. Okay. We got the Seattle win opening week against Denver. I'm trying to replay their schedule here. Week 2, Seattle. Week 2, Seattle.
Went to San Francisco.
Right. And then was winning for most of the game last week. Let's say 3 quarters, about that. And it was, that Atlanta team, it wasn't Atlanta number or nothing. We knew that one.
Yeah.
There. And remember, trust and respect the opening number. The actual number was Lions -6. And the only way that they were going to get was money coming in obviously on Seattle. Now with the injuries, more money's coming in on Seattle. Don't forget, I think it was 2016 was the last time that the Lions had been favored, and that was week 2 against the Commanders, and they had a 23-0 lead. Commanders come back and almost tie it, and then they just pooped themselves. So Vegas was all in on the Lions this week. The injuries does make it a little, because Geno actually has not played that bad, by the way.
No, no, he hasn't. No. Yeah, it's interesting because that's a game that I have on circle here, and Lions or metrics are not good defensively. They lost their best defensive player also. Um, I'd lean Lions, maybe not on my card. Jets and Steelers. I don't know. When's it happening, Jeff? Should we call Mike Tomlin?
No, after if you pulled up the Steelers schedule, they got to wait till the bye, because I think they got 2 biggies coming up in front of them. They got like the Bucks and Bills, or they got 2 horses coming in front of them.
What if I told you the Steelers, their last 10 games as a home favorite? What if I told you they were 1-9 of the spread?
Well, I would say that was Big Ben, and I can believe it.
Jets are starting Wilson, I guess.
Yep, Wilson is back. And shout out to Marty Lowe. Roll Tide, 16.5, 17-point favorites this week against Arkansas. Roll Tide. The Sharps are all in on Bama here. And yes, Ucla has been playing great for Detroit. He has, Mr. Lowe.
I don't know if Steelers go 1-3. I don't think so. They haven't had a losing season since 2003. They'll probably find a way. Stench, ugly game, probably off our radar. Jags and Eagles. Doug Peterson, homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles look good. Hurts MVP so far, perhaps. But let me tell you something about Jacksonville. They're not chopped liver. They can score. That, to me, is the game of the week. And I'll be honest, I like the Jags there. I don't know if that'll make my card, but if it did, it'd be the Jags. I like teams that can score.
Okay, so can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
If you didn't take the Jags +7 last week, when the line was 3.5, you don't play that mind game with yourself. Why would you take them against one of the best teams in the NFL?
Because the line is telling me it's a Jags number. Why aren't they 7 or 7.5? Going back home, hurricane issues, Philly looking great, back-to-back road games, overrated narrative, by the way. Back-to-back road games, overrated narrative. I've seen teams win all the time in cover on their back-to-back. I like the Jags. I like their culture. I think their defense is scary. I haven't had a good reading on the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles have played pretty much not a full 60 minutes, this year. It's Jags or pass for me in that game. Just in talking the card here. This game I do like. If I went to the window, if I was in Vegas tomorrow, and I'll be there in 2 weeks, by the way.
For your 30th birthday.
This will be Mr. Lucky's probably best play of the weekend. I love this game, and I don't understand the line. I like the Browns at Atlanta. Brissett's played well. Cooper's found his game. I mean, I think he's had 2 straight games of 100 yards receiving. They've got the better running attack. Atlanta's off 2 road games. They're 3-0 to the spread. Line open, I believe, 3 down to 1. Browns are pass. I'm going to the window on the Browns. That's my favorite play of the week, I think. I don't see the Browns losing. They have the Chargers next. Falcons have the Bucks next. Not that that's an oversight, but I something tells me the Falcons are being too much respected there. They're not that good. I mean, they've given up 400 yards a game. I think the Browns are the better team, and it's the homecoming for Chubb, and I think Chubb will have a big game. Any thoughts there?
No, I said all along, I thought that was definitely the play. Cleveland was 3, it's showing one. I saw the pictures. I assume you did too of Garrett's car, his Porsche,
Yeah.
getting destroyed after he left. I had heard rumors wrist. I don't know if he's in, he's out, or whatever.
Is that why the line has moved that way, you think, because of Miles Garrett?
I don't know if it's so much that is versus the opening line. The only thing that you could do is take Atlanta or a team that's 1-2 that honestly, we know they should have beat the Saints week 1. They had the ball with a chance to come all the way back to beat the Rams in week 2. They beat the Seattle in week 3, and you were going to gift them with a field goal. There was only one way that number could down. Go back to week 1.
Yeah.
Remember when Cleveland was at the Panthers and we both knew it was a Browns number? The fact that one of our buddies at Wager Talk said they were 1-16 the last 17 straight up in season openers.
Yep.
And so why wasn't that line 3? Well, they wanted Panther money. Why did this line open at 3? Because they wanted Falcon money. So your eyes are correct on that one.
Yeah, I like that one quite a bit. Here's an interesting one, Jeff. You've got the Heisman Bowl, Oklahoma Heisman Bowl. You've got Kyler Murray versus our favorite quarterback, Baker Mayfield. This one smells to me, Jeff. Cardinals have been pathetic this year, as we know. They easily could be 0-3. Panthers had lost 9 straight and won last week. Got outplayed but won. I saw this over the course of the week. Here's the stat of the day. Do you know what Matt Rule is as a coach? His last 23 games when the opponent scores 17 or more.
Can't be good.
For all the viewers out there, we have viewers. 0-23 straight up. Let me repeat. Matt Rule is 0-23 straight up when the opponent scores 17 or more. That was compliments of Mr. Gil Alexander on Twitter and listen. Good job. That's a great stat. I mean, for me, it's the Cardinals or nothing. I don't like the Panther team. I haven't really been sold on Rule. I think Murray's a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. I think he finds a way to get it done. Thoughts there?
I've been on the Cardinal, the Panther side just because of that number. And as we speak, it's now flipped in 2 spots to Arizona -1. I have talked at length. A Cardinal team that last year started 7-1. That didn't impress me as much as how good they were on the road. They went into opening day and beat Tennessee. They had a road win, I want to say at San Fran or the Rams, one of those 2 spots. They played phenomenal on the road. And this year, they're 0-2 at home and really haven't been in a game. They played a good 4th quarter in Vegas and then obviously won in overtime. So I think once they get out of the desert, they're playing a lot better. Your tweet today also mentioned that Rule has lost the locker room. We've known that now for a while, hence first coach to be fired. He was our pick this preseason, and I think he's heading down that direction. I have no problem anyone taking Arizona here. I don't.
The Cowboys. I forgot this game, Jeff. My apologies. Early game. Commanders at Cowboys. We know this is a Commanders line. Cowboys lead the league in 13 sacks. By the way, if you saw anybody in Cape Cod running, it's probably the Dallas pass rush, and it's Danny Dimes running away from that pass rush. You know how many times our buddy Carson Wentz got sacked last week?
No.
9. So my issue with this game, Jeff, and you can convince me otherwise, my good friend. I just can't get past the Commanders. Their last 2 first halves, at Detroit and at home against Philly, outscored 46-0. So if Dallas gets ahead on Sunday, it's all she wrote. with that defense. Is it a Commanders number? Yes. They're off a home loss. It's a division game. Everybody liked the way Dallas played. Cooper looks good. Jerry's happy. It's the Cowboys, right? Stephen A. Smith's frowning. Everybody in the media says, oh my God, Cowboys, they're on a roll. They have the Rams next week. They have to win Sunday. I've gone back and forth on this one because I don't like the Cowboys and I certainly don't like Cooper Rush as a favorite, but I ain't betting on Carson Wentz. So that's probably the one that I keep going back and forth because the posse likes the Cowboys at home, and it's a Commanders number. You and I know that. Vegas knows that. Dallas doesn't know that, but guess what? Sharps know that. So we'll see. This one is interesting, Jeff. Probably my dog of the week, and it'll be a nice tune to you. You got the Patriots getting 9.5 points at a Packer team that's averaging 16 points a game. I thought got lucky. By the way, you were dead on last week, but I thought they got lucky to win. I mean, in the sense that if the Tampa still had a chance to tie the game. Now, granted, the Packers had the ball late in the second, third quarter, could have put the game away and fumbled. So I get that, but we're looking at it as closure. You know, what was the result of the game? Brian Hoyer is what scares me. I tweeted this today. Do you know what Brian Hoyer is? His last 11 starts.
Yes, he's 0-11.
He's 0-11. Guess how many touchdowns the Packers have scored this year in the second half?
The Packers?
Yeah, in 3 games.
0.
1.
1.
Okay. It's a Pats number. It's Pats or pass for me. I think Bill gets that team ready to play. They are also 6-0 off a double-digit loss at home. And by the way, and I know you watched him more than I do, they played pretty well last week. I mean, they moved the ball, right? I mean, that claim was a little bit closer. They've been competitive so far.
No,
I don't know. I think the Pats can hang in Green Bay, Jeff.
Mac moved the ball and he had turnovers. That's what cost them. Like I said a little earlier on our show, the difference between Mac and Hoyer, Vegas initially thought was 3. It was 7.5. They moved it to 10.5 Monday morning, and quickly went to 10 and to 9.5. Before we started the show, it was announced that Mac is out. They did just Bill playing Jedi mind tricks. He's out at practice. Yada yada yada. He's not.
Is that day by day? Is that day by day?
Because he didn't want to have the surgery that he would have been back. Yeah, exactly, day by day. It's just, he replaced Bill Parcells, who was worth the price of admission on every one of his press conferences. Bill is nauseating. As soon as he comes on for a press conference, I just hit mute. If I was getting paid by the Globe or the Herald and I had to go report them, I'd say I'll take the 0 and you can dock my pay. I wouldn't put up for the shenanigans. I was actually going to say bullshit there, but it is what it is. I think this game probably lands on 7. And let me just see here. It's an over of 40.
Yeah.
Packers will score on their first possession and get a field goal on their second. They're amazing on their scripted plays. As you said last week, they were up 14-0. They were about to go up 21-3.
Yeah.
And he gets Malachi crunched on the one Aaron Jones did on a pass. And they played the prevent defense, let him come all the way down, scored, and then, of course, the 2-point conversion did not make it there.
Packers were the side last week, Jeff. You were 100% on that one. Good job. Good week.
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know. I think the Packer defense is quite good. They buttoned up their defense, but we know that. I've got all the numbers here that say it's a Packers win. I mean, Hoyer can't win. He's lost 11 in a row. Thanks for playing. We'll see. We're passing on the Rams 49ers, Broncos and Raiders. I mean, the only thing I'll tell you about that game is that the Raiders, if you like the Raiders, have won 4 straight in the series. They have to win. They were 1 for 12 on third downs last week. Um, Seattle became the first team in 6 years to win Denver. They became the first team in 6 years to win punting the ball 10 times. So, I don't know. Raiders are 2.5. The whole world will probably think the Raiders have to win because it's 1-3 or 1-4 if they don't win. Chiefs and Bucks. I can't figure out the Chiefs or the Bucks this year because when the Chiefs, to me, Mahomes is 6-0-1 as a home. Mahomes is 6-0-1, excuse me, as a off a loss. What's that line now, Jeff? Is that still a pick'em? A contest is a pick'em. That's why I don't really care for the game. I mean, I can see the Chiefs winning. I can see the Bucks winning. To me, it's a toss-up.
Final.
It's a pick 'em. It's 1 at DraftKings right now. Tampa will go off as a 1-point favorite.
Yeah, I mean, if Tampa goes off as a 1-point favorite, I think it's a Chiefs game to win. Off a loss last week, they'll probably be able.
Do you remember the Tampa and Bills game last year at Tampa?
Yes.
I was taking my daughter up for a visit to Syracuse, and it was Bills all the way, and then in comes, Superman Tom, and they win at the wire. I can see that happening again here. I really can. Remember again, opening day, the Chiefs were 4.5. The line got stale. They moved it to 6 and then closed at 6.5 at Arizona. They could have put up 60 that day. I would respect the Kansas City number -3, 3.5, and they didn't do that. They're baiting you to take the Chiefs here, and especially if the Bucks go to 1.5 point favorites. And then they're like, well, there's no way Mahomes is going to lose 2 in a row. Oh, is that so? Think about it this way, Lucky. Let's play the game for
right.
Let's play this game. Chiefs lose, right? Chiefs lose.
They go to 2-2.
Okay. What's the Chargers record right now?
1-2.
Okay. Chargers win. What's their record?
2-2.
Raiders win. What's Denver's record?
2-2.
And the Raiders will be 1 game
1-3.
out of first.
And Jeff, I believe. Well, I know Evans is back.
Evans is back.
I heard Godwin might play and
Game time decision.
game time. And is Julio out? Do we know yet on that?
Game
Or
time
no?
decision.
Who's the better defense?
It's not even close.
Tampa. Yeah, Tampa. I wanted to share this with you, and you know me with these numbers that I do. I mean, I do have a day job, but I spend a lot of nights reading and looking at all this stuff. This year, Jeff, shout out to Mr. Scotty Webb. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Thinking of you and everybody in Florida, cousins out there, etc. Jeff, this year, if you score over 24 points a game, and I went back to every game, and there are teams that scored 24 and lost because the other team scored more than 24. So let me make that clear. There have been 28 games this year that fall in that category. If you score 24 or more, guess what your record is?
How many games sample?
28.
24-4.
Close. 21-7. So my point to you is, my friend, back to just this game, do the Packers score 24 points on the Patriots defense?
Not with an under over a 40. They're going to score 23 or less.
I agree. The other thing I want to share with you, Jeff, which I think you'll like, is guess how many games have been decided by 3 or less points so far in the NFL, to the point is how difficult it is to win in the NFL. The pair to the NFL and the Circa Sports Million Contest. Look at the lines this week. How many fall within 3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, I believe. 10 games this week,
11.
huh?
11.
11. Okay. Okay. Guess how many games so far have been decided by 3 or less in 3 weeks?
So that would be 40, 32, 48, 35.
18.
18 within 3 or less.
Within 3 or less.
I
So
wonder what the
that's
number is under a
six-
touchdown. It's probably in the high 30s.
Yes, at least. But it also goes to show you these numbers become so sharp, right? And I mean, we know Vegas knows what they're doing, but it'll be a challenging week. They all are. You know, we're doing great. It's a marathon. Our weekly goal, Jeff, is 4 wins. Where's the camera? 4. Is that realistic? No. There's going to be regression. But we'll see. I think it's going to be a challenging 5 this week. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. Little Mr. Lucky Nugget here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8 teams that lost at home. You want me to tell you who those 8 are?
Sure.
So we'll keep notes, and you tell me how many win and cover this week. Washington lost at home. Seattle lost at home. The Giants lost at home. The Jets lost at home. The Chargers lost at home. The Cardinals lost at home. The Patriots lost at home. And the Bucks lost at home. I will walk to Cape Cod, buy you lunch, see you in studio in person next Friday. If those 8 teams all do not, if none of those teams do not cover or win. That's the last nugget I'll leave you with, my friend. Mr. Lucky, live, and a pleasure to be on with you, amigo.
Marty Lowe, I'm catching back up to you. I can't see the comments when I'm on that other screen. Myles Garrett going to play? I don't think he is. I heard 2 weeks, but we'll see there.
I don't think it matters.
Marty says the car that he actually wrecked was his. That God bless you there, Marty. Yes, Arizona wide receiver core is banged up. Still 3 more weeks, including this week, till Hopkins comes off suspension. Dortch in your fantasy league, if he's out there, go pick him up. Rondell Moore is not going to play again, and I'm hoping Marquise Brown does play there. Raider Denver thoughts. It's all in for the Raiders. I think Denver is real sneaky. I like the over 45 there. Ramondo Stevens is starting to take over the backfield. Yes, he is. That's why we drafted him in every league with A.J. Dillon there. So the colder weather, I think, will do real good for Stevenson and Dillon there. Josh McDaniels, 5-20 in his last 25 as a head coach. You can take the person from one area code 617 to another one 702, and if he don't change, nothing changes. That's called the geographical change, which all of us have done at some point in life, and it usually doesn't work that well. So
I will not be shocked if on Sunday evening your Las Vegas Raiders are 0-4. Jeff, real quick, something I want to point out to you. And I should have probably highlighted this. This is a popular game for the week. The Bills, their last 7 games decided by 7 points or less, are
3-4,
0-7. Lamar Jackson is the first player in history to have back-to-back 100-yard games rushing and 3 touchdown passes. 16-1 to win MVP, Jeff. You know what my motivation on playing Lamar was for MVP? I know you'll get this.
Yeah, he was betting on himself for a contract.
And I thought of Aaron Judge. And when I went to Vegas, I thought, you know what? I'm going to play on everybody knew it was going to be Josh and Patrick and Lamar.
Don't forget Jalen.
Bills have lost 5 in a row in Baltimore, just for the folks out there. I think that's all I have.
Well, as always, it's been a great Friday. We welcome you. We enjoy you. We enjoy our weekly banter, obviously, our notes. I did a quick closing bell. It's Friday, as always, fade the public. Contrarian. It's payday. Don't be the pizza man. Don't walk into the casino where you're supposed to go home and pay the bills. Say, I'm going to get your pizza, hon. And then you get caught up in the 7 o'clock games. And then next thing you know, you're in the West Coast games and the wife calls and says, hon, where's dinner? And, oh, yeah, that's right. And you come home at 11:15 and there's the pillow, there's the blanket, and you're on the couch and there's the cold pizza. So
Braves and Mets tonight should be a heck of a series. Braves have to sweep.
That's not going to happen.
But they won't.
No.
They won't.
The best case scenario is to go 2-1 and be tied with 3 to go, which is for next weekend at this time. Mr. Lucky, we will be talking playoff baseball because there'll be games going on, of course. So.
Jeff, what is your give me who loses this week if it was up to Jeff Dawson? Who loses this week? The Raiders or the Eagles? They were up to Mr. Jeff Dawson.
That is a 1,000%. If one of those teams was losing, it's the Raiders.
It's the Raiders, I think. Yeah.
That's why I said, and I wasn't saying it to be, sarcasm or not.
Oh,
if you didn't, you know me. If I wasn't at the wedding, I'm probably not going to the funeral. If you didn't have the Jaguars with a hurt, +7 with a hurt Herbert, going back into Philly. And listen, the story of the year, I mean, there's a lot of stories already, but it has to be the Jaguars and just how good they've looked. And it's great for football. I remember those glory days. I know you do too, with the ex-BC coach, with
Tom Coughlin.
With Mark Brunell, with Fred Taylor, with Keenan McCardell, with Jimmy Smith. Those are the fun days. And I lived in Jacksonville for a year. The city stopped when Jacksonville was playing. And it was fun. It really was. And listen, they had that game won in Foxborough. They had the lead going in the fourth quarter, and they had a late turnover where the Pats came back and ended up winning that game and eventually winning the Super Bowl. But it's good to have them back, and it really does prove how big of a cancer Urban Meyer really was.
Yeah, toxic. And, Jeff, they could win the AFC South.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. No doubt there. No doubt there.
And Mr. Lucky will tell you right now, they will go into Philly, and they will cover.
All right. Well, that's the that's the finale here, people. You can follow Mr. Lucky at Follow Fade. The scroll has been going there. I like to say Lucky's Lobby and Lucky's Locks and Bagels. Of course, we don't use the word lock.
Nope.
The word locks and
Jeff,
bagels together.
Good luck this week. Everybody out there, stay safe. Keep it very simple this week. It's a tricky board. Vegas can eat you alive, and they have tall buildings for a reason, as Jeff says. Pleasure, sir.
Always a pleasure. Everyone out there, be safe. Remember, the weekend's here. Stay in your lanes, okay? Tomorrow morning, myself and Riley will be back to get you ready for game day in the college. And then also Sunday morning, myself and Riley will be there for the NFL experience. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one, the only Mr. Lucky at Follow Fade. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Best of luck in the CIRCA Contest and your wagers this weekend, Mr. Lucky. And we will see you soon.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.